Hey there friends and enemies, JoPaWrites here again, and I was going to make a build video around Winterbite, the new stasis glaive in the heavy slot that we got with Lightfall. However, in messing around with this thing for a while, I realized you don't need to make a build with this thing at all. It is so busted. So busted, in fact, that they have disabled it from raids and dungeons and gambit, stuff like that. It is absolutely insane. And there's a ton of reasons for that. So let's go over the weapon and talk about why this thing is so broken. Obviously, being a heavy glaive is going to hit pretty hard, you know, with the melee. And it feels like it might not do sword level damage, but it does enough that with its intrinsic trait, Big Frigid Glaive fires a large ball of energy that locks onto nearby targets and freezes them. You'll see in the gameplay, it's insane. It'll freeze a ton of enemies, right? And you can pair this with something like Osmiomancy if you want, and just have infinite freeze ability, which is insane. But the wild part is because glaives work with melee interactions in Destiny 2, this thing does some wild things. Absolutely insane. Obviously, it'll work with your exotics, like something like a Titan Syntheseps or Worm God Caress, to buff its damage if you'd like. That's crazy enough. It also works with Strand, essentially acting as a Strand melee to generate those tangles that you want to use for your woven mail or anything like that. It's just really ridiculous, and the interactions are almost endless, and that's why you don't need to make a build for this if you are playing anything but the types of content that this thing is locked out of. Use Winterbite at all times. It'll make content completely trivial. It's ridiculously good. The other trait that it has, Weighted Edge, is weapons melee attacks deal increased damage and slow targets when loaded with ammo. Again, you are able to freeze or stun a champion and go a couple swipes and it's dead. You'll slow it. Same thing with bosses. It slows them very minorly, but still, you're able to just jump in there and just swing away and just melee, and things are dead, right? It's absolutely insane. I've really enjoyed using the new melees this season. Vexcalibur is really good, but Winterbite is just on a different level. And as I was, like I said, experimenting with Nightfalls and seasonal content and everything I possibly could to try and use this weapon and see what kind of build I should make with it, I came to the conclusion it's just completely unnecessary. And now you're going to ask why it is not going to be usable in raids and stuff, why they blocked it, and it obviously is because of the world's first. I feel like a Winterbite on somebody's team would have probably broken at least one of the encounters. That's typically what happens. There's always a couple things that get removed or blocked from raids or from the game entirely as we're leading up to the world's first raid, just because otherwise it's going to kind of taint that and make some of the contest mode content a little too simple for the folks going for that world's first raid. So that's a big part of it. But overall, this is my favorite thing. I know it's funny because before Lightfall dropped, everyone was so disappointed that this was going to slide into the heavy slot, and I was too. I was really looking forward to a glaive that's going to be in the first slot, and hopefully we do get either a stasis or Strand glaive at some point to go into that slot, because it would open up a lot of builds. I'd even run maybe a triple glaive build just for shenanigans like I used to do with triple grenade launchers. But overall, this thing has exceeded every expectation, and it's a weapon that I highly recommend you get immediately. Even if they fix the brokenness of this, like even if they nerf it a little bit or they adjust, it's still going to be very, very good just based off of using it for a small amount of time. If you have a stasis themed build you want to toss this in, great. If you have a melee build, awesome. If you have a build that focuses on anything that could use a glaive, it's not going to do the highest DPS. It's going to be hard to use against like servitors and everything like that. But even still, it's like you can use a special weapon in the game right now in order to do DPS. If you really want to, you can use a super. If you throw on a DPS super, it works out very, very well. And yeah, overall, I'm just really excited to use this weapon, and hopefully we get more like this, because it does something in the game that we have not seen at all. Its orb that it sends out is pretty unique. The fact that it's a stasis glaive in the heavy slot is also unique. I would love to see an exotic primary or secondary sword, right? Probably an energy sword, but I'd love to see that, just to mix things up. So you have like the swipe attacks instead of the glaive attacks. Obviously it's going to do a lot less damage, but unique weapons, unique items are what I love about Destiny. And this season, and since Lightfall, has been an absolute banger. We got the full auto final warding sidearm, which again, the tracking one that is not going to be the most broken, but is hilarious and a lot of fun. We got the bow that shoots out stasis crystals that enhances the stasis titan build. That's what I made earlier. Fantastic there. And yeah, the Vexcalibur is phenomenal as well. And there's just so many good options. So I know I've kind of gone on a little bit of a tangent here, but overall I will tell you, go get Winterbite. The quest itself is very good. Highly recommend doing it. Join up with some friends, knock it out, because this thing is going to be fantastic. And hopefully after this weekend, once the world's first raid is over, we will have full access to this thing across all kinds of content, so you'll be able to use this everywhere and anywhere. And yeah, oh, it has tilting at whirlwind, or tilting at windmills, if you didn't know. Blocking damage with the shield, increase the movement speed while shielding. That's very, very good. Again, one of the other things that this really benefits from this season, because it only has 3 shots, is you throw on a stasis holder where it auto regens when it's stowed. Phenomenal. You can just wait like 10 seconds and you'll be back with full ammo instead of having to reload. That is one of the main gripes about glaives. So that's phenomenal for this, and it definitely makes the weapon that much better. Anyway, I know, like I said, I went sidetracked, but I just love this weapon so much. I'm just so excited for more unique options in Destiny 2, and I hope we continue to get them going forward, because we've gotten a lot of bangers. We still are waiting on the exotic from the raid as well. Very hopeful to snag that here sooner than later. My name is JoPa. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, hit the like button. Subscribe to the channel. It helps me out tremendously. Obviously, I've been non-stop with the Destiny 2 content since Lightfall's released. I'm going to continue throwing up builds and guides and weapon reviews, all that kind of stuff that you guys love to see. I hope you have a good one, and I'll catch you all later.